100.5 WKHL on blogtalkradio.com.
Your ancient future is now. Welcome to KHEMWEST.
2011 All-Star Game, the hookup with Russell Simmons. He's got a new book out. It is Super Rich, A Guide to Having It All. Russell, welcome to Washington Watch.
Thank you, brother. You know, I was in Washington and I missed you.
I know that, so that's what I'm saying.
And
so
I called ahead and everything.
I
So
understand.
You're a little tough to catch as well.
Well, just a little bit, Let's jump right into it. I've heard many different interviews. I read different interviews. I talked to you on Tom Joyner Morning Show.
Yeah.
And your critics, the first thing they say, Russell, you got it all. You got money. You're getting paid. So how all of a sudden are you now deciding to tell people there's a different way to have it all? When you hear that, what do you say?
Well, I think that criticism is legitimate. I hear it so often. I don't think it makes real good sense since your mother and your father and your preacher, your rabbi, imam, or whatever,
right.
your prophet, your scripture, all told you that having it all comes from within. Mm-hmm. And so it's told to you over and over again. I mean, of course, people forget, but it's etched in stone. You know, it's in each prophet's mouth and each teaching. So this book is about the same truth that you already have etched inside you. The idea is to have it ring a bell.
Here's what jumps out. Because I was at a church in Dallas several years ago, and they honored the member of the year. This woman didn't have a car, didn't have much money, but the pastor said whenever somebody was sick, she was always at the hospital first. When his father died, she was there taking care of him. And what they talked about was, they said she had a prosperous spirit. Now, when people hear spiritual prosperity, what's interesting is this woman, the pastor said she didn't have a lot of money, she didn't have cars, but her spirit was prosperous because she was a giving woman.
There is a point in the book that was tough for me because I wanted to make sure that people got this message. I didn't want to tell them that you could have a prosperous spirit and you would be happy and that was all. Because I know that is not attractive to a lot of us. Mm-hmm. A lot of us are entitled, we need to empower ourselves. And maybe if we believe at the end there's some payoff, then we'll start to walk a different path. I can remind you that, of course, the story of Puffy is in that book. The story of Leo Cohen, the story of Kevin Liles, the story of Julie Greenwald, the story of Michael Kaiser. All these people were my interns, became presidents. Right. The story of David Geffen as a intern working in the mailroom. All those stories are in the book. But those stories about people who went to work, they were focused on the present. They were giving. They were making sure everybody was better as interns. And when you make sure everybody's better as an intern, you study your craft, one day you're the leader. You're still a servant. But they look to you for leadership because you're making them better.
But the struggle seems to be, for a lot of people, they see it as 100% this, 100% that. So for instance, I'll talk to people and they'll say, well, you know, I want to have a bigger house, want to have more money. And I say, look, I understand that, I get that, but if you don't have a sense of happiness inside, if you don't have a sense of contentment, then even when you get that, you still may not be content, you still may not be happy, and you still might be miserable.
See, I would contend, and this is people would say this is more Eastern philosophy, but it's written in the Bible and the Quran and Torah as well. The contentment is not partly inside as a result. You know, and there is nothing on the outside that will make you happy. Money does not make you happy under any circumstance. Mm-hmm. Happy does make you money, though, this attractive giver.
What jumps out, one thing in writing this, where you said, wow, this is where I am today. This is where I used to be, and even I'm surprised about that growth, that evolution.
What I learned is that when I look back and I'm trying to explain what it is that promotes this kind of prosperity or this kind of happiness inside, I can look back now after having read scripture and look and say, well, this is what they mean. Like we talk about being awake or fully awake, and what I call super rich is a state of needing nothing. The same thing could be described, nirvana would be the state of needing nothing, or a state of yoga. Or Christ consciousness, a state of needing nothing. It's a blissful state. When does that happen? So there's a chapter called Work is Prayer, to make work your prayer. Because when I was making these records, all I could hear was the melody. I was focused on the melody. Every so often I might break focus. And I'd break focus and I'd think, wait till they hear this. I never thought, when till the money comes.
You mentioned stillness. That was a wonderful gospel song called Peace Be Still. Talk a bit about why stillness is so important, especially in the world now where we have Twitter, Facebook, Blackberries, iPhone, iPad, internet, everything. It's just moving.
Yeah, but you operate from stillness. You have hundreds of thoughts going through your head all the time. When the noise settles, they say it's only God. That's all that's left is here. And so you need to, every day if possible, let the noise settle and separate yourself from, and then you operate from a place where you can be the watcher. The yogis refer to the watcher, where they see their life, and instead of being an extra moved around by the masses or the collective is, you're in the role that you want to play. You can play your own role as opposed to being moved around.
How do you feel when people come up to you and literally say, my thought process, my life, my focus has been transformed by something that you wrote?
The proceeds of this book go to charity. I run 5 charities. I run the Foundation for Ethnic Understanding, the Diamond Empowerment Fund, the Hip Hop 7 Action Network, the Rush Philanthropic Art Foundation, the Life Project. I run and I work in many other philanthropic and social and political endeavors. That's what I do. But this book and the last book, I do get that. And the lifting someone's consciousness by even 1 degree is a very great gift. And for me, it is, the most rewarding thing I can do is to give people a little shift or just a reminder of the piece of God that's inside them.
Are you hopeful, let's deal with the issue of music, are you hopeful that a bestseller like this, your influence with folks in the industry, could also raise their level of consciousness in terms of what they are distributing?
Well, I think that the rapper's job is to tell us what we're thinking as a collective. I don't think that they necessarily have to be the ones to lift us. It's nice when Kanye writes Jesus Walks. But if we're sexist, and we are, and if we're racist, and we are, and if we're homophobic, and we are, and we're violent, and a rapper brings some of that into his poetry, it's a look at some part of us we don't like to see. And I would say that the rappers are already less sexist, less racist, less homophobic than the masses, and they're certainly less gangster than our government. So, I want everyone to be lifted. I don't want the poets traditionally have always told us who we are. And so, I don't mean just here in America at this moment, but traditionally throughout history, the poets have always been the ones to look inside and spit out things that we do, act on, live with, and try to block out. And then the poets say it. George Bush don't like black people. Doesn't mean it's true. It means that's what people are thinking. So he just said it. He said, wow, why did he say that? He said it because everybody's thinking it. So poets have to say F the police. Very important to say F the police. When there's so much police brutality going on, and at that moment, and then the next thing, there was a whole review of the relationship between community and police. And so I think the poet's job is to give it to us raw. I don't fault them. They're not ahead of society in violence. They're not ahead of society in sexism or racism. They're certainly less racist and sexist and homophobic and everything else than the previous generation. So I hope that everyone's lifted. I hope that our priests and preachers, who are more sexist than most rappers, are transformed. I hope that there's some people who are, and I think a lot of rappers are talking about it, who realize that the number 2 use of oil, besides for the army, all the water, all the grain, the destruction of the ozone layer, all the cancer and sickness, and the worst karma in the history of humankind is the animals and the abuse of them. And I think that a lot of rappers are saying that, more than the mainstream. It's our reality. So we do things unconsciously. Rappers bring them up because at least they can be in touch with them. They know them. They see the contradictions. And it's good that they say what they say in many cases. I never am offended by what they say. I'm hurt sometimes if I can't escape it. I'm sometimes hurt by the things that we do as a collective, but I'm not upset by a poet who exposes it.
Folks, the book is called Super Rich, A Guide to Having It All, by Russell Simmons, bestseller. And so certainly I hope folks continue reading it, but also, as you said, stay on the path of enlightenment.
Your #1 source for new music. 102.5 KHEM, the sounds of higher consciousness.
Yeah. Coolin', my team ain't seen much losing. Got this shit together, now we working on the move. And if you never heard of the foe, get to YouTube and Ronnie Johnson on the beat, so you know what I'm doing. Stewing, and this bitch keep that bass booming. And I'ma be the kid that's gonna do a lot of proving. Sleeping, that's what they was doing, I was fueling. Now everybody round the way come around saluting. I guess they finally tuned in, and I don't go hard, nigga, I just find two shit. Shine my shoes, adjust my time, I be on that suit shit. You be in the club, throwing money, rockin' Coogee. When I get on the track, the nigga goes stupid. When you get on your track, you and your niggas start muting. And the sad part about it, them the same ones that boost you. Me, I'm just getting the praise like hallelujahs. I can't help that you fall through your music. Me, I'm on the spring, my pedals start blooming, my pedals start moving. Don't this sound soothing? I stay up on my grind, don't you hear that coffee brewing? 5:15, I'm in my notebook oozing. Damn, I'm on the rise, I keep fucking up the roof. And if they ask about mine, tell them I'm the best to do it. If they ask where I'm at, tell them I'm probably somewhere coolin'. Ain't nobody fucking with my vibe. They can't do the things like I, man, I cannot share that shine. All you niggas get behind. District 4 when we on eyes. Always late but we on time. We just some hell of a guy. Straight coolin'. Dirt road coolin'. 24's coolin'. Hitting hoes coolin'. District 4 coolin'. You can find me coolin'. Riding to my music. Grinding but I'm coolin'. Man, I just be hoolin'. Hit the scene, got them hoes choosing. Now I don't know magic, but I can tell the future. You gon' leave with me and you gon' get to feel this ruler. We gon' take a shot or two and we gon' play a little Luther. You gon' think to yourself, damn, this nigga way smoother. And in the morning you gon' say we shoulda did it sooner. Cougar, I gotta go, that makes me a trooper. Me, I walk the stage, the mother niggas juniors, tutors. 9 to the game, I'm a student. Viewer, I like idea, like rumors. We pay you no mind. Your life is like a blooper. You was made specifically just to satisfy my humor. Super, that's I tweet that from your Uber. I'm just getting bigger over time like a tumor. And in due time, this do shine will be lunar. I'm just ill, I know I'm real, I know I meant to say I'm truer. I just tore this page about my book of jewels, my books of Julia. Now with these hoes, they heard them all. I guess my face, it looks familiar. Now I got this freaky bitch, she memorized the Kama Sutra, good lord. She can make them words come up out of Buddha. Cubans, smoking like a Boston, join my union. I'm the rawest out the South Cat, that right there's improving. I'm nobody famous, riding to my music. If they ask where I'm at, tell them I'm probably somewhere coolin'. Ain't nobody fucking with my vibe. They can't do the things like I, man, I cannot share this shine. All you niggas get behind. District 4 when we on eyes, always late but we on time. We just some hell of a guy, straight coolin'. Dirt road coolin', 24's coolin', hitting hoes coolin'. District 4 coolin', you can find me coolin'. Riding to my music, grinding but I'm coolin'. Man, I just be coolin'. Ain't nobody fucking with my vibe. They can't do the things like I, man, I cannot share this shine. All you niggas get behind. District 4 when we on eyes, always late but we on time. We just some hell of a guy, straight coolin'. Dirt road coolin', 24's coolin', hitting hoes coolin'. District 4 coolin', you can find me coolin'. Riding to my music, grinding but I'm coolin'. Man, I just be coolin'. Dirt road coolin', 24's coolin', hitting hoes coolin'. District 4 coolin', you can find me coolin'. Riding to my music, grinding but I'm coolin'. Man, I just be coolin'.
Oh, please. Won't you forgive me?
102.5 is the place to hear all the hits you know and love, plus the hits you won't hear anywhere else. 102.5 WKHM, the sounds of higher consciousness.